Good morning, family. Welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Wednesday, August 5th, 2009, and we're reading in 1 Kings chapter 19. And as always, I first encourage you to read for yourself. See what you get from it. Email us, and we will put it on the blog. But we have our first Lessons for Life with the latest addition to our family. And what we see in this chapter, and what I want to bring up in this chapter. Well, there's a couple of things actually from this chapter. Well, I'm going to bring up 2 points from here. First is, you see Elijah, and he's on the run, and it says that the wind comes, and then earthquake, and then a fire, but the Lord was not in any of those things. And the Lord spoke to him in a small, still voice. And even as we were talking earlier in our daily prayer session earlier, we mentioned even that part of the chapter where the Lord speaks in a small, still voice. So in order for us to hear a small, still voice, we need to actually be still. We need to be quiet in order to hear it. Because if I was whispering like this, now you didn't hear what I was saying if I was whispering, if you weren't quiet yourself. So if the Lord is speaking to us in that quiet time, in that peaceful time, in that in that smallness of voice, then we need to be able to hear Him. And if you're so busy preoccupied with your own things, your own thoughts, noise, the environment, or whatever, then you'll never hear what the Lord is speaking to you. So in order for us to position ourselves or prepare ourselves to hear from the Lord, we need to be in the right frame of mind and in the right even atmosphere, in a place of peace, in a place of tranquility, of silence. So like I was even mentioning this morning, a lot of times when you children are running around making a whole bunch of noise and playing, I tell you to be quiet, because right now I'm enjoying the quiet time. I enjoy a time where I can just sit still and don't have to think about certain things, just can sit still and enjoy just being. So that's when the Lord speaks to you in that small, still voice, even as He spoke to Elijah. And that's one lesson that you can get from it. And secondly, was just an encouragement lesson where Elijah was so distraught, he was down, he was ready to leave this planet. He was, saying he wanted to leave the earth to die, because he felt like he was all alone. The other prophets had been killed, and they were now after him. The queen was after him. She wanted his head or whatever. And what was encouraging about that was, throughout that all, he then was able to speak with the Lord, to hear from the Lord. And the Lord assured him that he was not there by himself, and there were others that were there. So a lesson that we can get from that is, no matter how bad things might look to you, no matter how dismal, how bleak, how grim things might look to you, it's never as bad as it appears to you. It never is as bad as it first appears to you. That's something actually I even learned from Bishop as well too, that nothing is as bad as it first appears. So even as Elijah thought everything, that he was all by himself, there was no one else, the Lord told him, there's 7,000 others that haven't bowed down to Baal, and you're not by yourself in this thing. So it wasn't as bad as Elijah first thought. He thought he was all alone. He was the only one left. But it turned out it wasn't as bad. So us, in our own lives, in our own situations, whatever we may see that we may think is so grim, so bleak, so discouraging, is never as bad as it first appears. Just give it time, and actually, sit in that stillness of voice like Elijah did. Listen to that small, still voice. Have a time of peace, of tranquility, of just being alone by yourself, but not really by yourself, allowing God to speak to you, and you'll see that it's not as bad as you thought it was originally. So those are the 2 lessons I wanted to share from this chapter, and also to have him in this lesson for life, even though he's sleeping. He did a good job sleeping. So with that, create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we'll talk again tomorrow.